Look, let's just be incredibly honest for a second here. Money, it is incredibly stressful. For so many of us, especially if you're a young adult just trying to figure out your path in life, it feels like this heavy, complicated weight. You're out there working hard, but maybe the math just isn't adding up. Well, I hear you. Today, I want you to think of me as your financial mentor. We are going to strip away all that anxiety and walk through a step-by-step explainer based on the exact formulas used by financial experts to build actual long-term security.
Right out of the gate, I want you to ask yourself something and be totally real with me. Are you just surviving or are you actually thriving? Because so many of us are stuck in this exhausting cycle of just getting by. You might be constantly checking your bank balance, getting that awful knot in your stomach despite doing everything quote-unquote right, getting the job, paying the bills. It kind of feels like real freedom is constantly out of reach, doesn't it?
You know, we get stuck because we confuse two incredibly different things. Entrepreneur and Professor Scott Galloway makes this powerful distinction. Society is literally screaming at us 24/7 to look rich. You know the drill. Flashy cars, huge homes, designer clothes. But as Galloway puts it, rich is the things you see, wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is quiet. It's that deep breath security of knowing you are totally covered.
So here is my call to action for you, right here, right now. I want you to commit to this mindset shift. Stop looking rich and start building wealth. Let go of the immense pressure to show off to people you don't even know. Just follow this guide, take these steps to heart, and let's unlock your actual financial freedom together.
Okay, so here's the exact roadmap for our explainer today. We'll start by tackling the money stress epidemic, then rewire your money mindset. From there, we'll clearly define wealth versus riches, break down the expert wealth formula, show you how to track, save, and monetize, and wrap up with the immense power of consistent investing. Section 1. The money stress epidemic and its hidden costs.
Listen, financial stress isn't just about math. It's a critical health and relationship issue. Scott Galloway actually points out that economic stress can literally raise the resting blood pressure of a child living in a low-income home. It acts as a primary incendiary for divorce and massive family tension. It keeps us trapped in this exhausting, low-level survival mode. So wanting financial security, that's not greedy. It is absolutely crucial for protecting your peace and your family's health.
Section 2. Rewiring your money mindset from scarcity to abundance.
Before we touch a single spreadsheet, we have to fix how our brains are wired. For a long time, author Jay Shetty believed that people who had money must be doing shady, bad things to get it. That's a classic scarcity mindset, thinking money is inherently bad or that if you share your knowledge, someone's going to steal it and leave you with nothing. Author Lewis Howes contrasts this with an abundance mindset, viewing money simply as a tool and leading your life with a generous, open heart.
So how do we actually make that shift? First up, acknowledge those limiting beliefs holding you back. Second, practice gratitude for the money you do have, even if it's literally just enough to pay a phone bill. And third, and this is huge, when you are young and broke, use your joy, your passion, and your curiosity as your currency. Lewis Howes explains that asking great questions with genuine enthusiasm is incredibly valuable to burnt-out, wealthy mentors. That positive energy alone can attract life-changing opportunities.
Section 3. Wealth versus riches. Let's define the actual goal here. This is honestly one of my absolute favorite comparisons. On one side, we have Scott Galloway's investment banker buddy. He makes between $3 and $10 million a year. Sounds amazing, right? But he pays 50% in taxes, has a massive master of the universe lifestyle to maintain, and suffers sleepless nights terrified of losing his job. He is rich, but he is certainly not wealthy. Now on the other side is Galloway's 94-year-old dad. He makes a modest $52,000 a year, but he only spends $48,000. He has total peace. He is truly wealthy.
The secret to the dad's total peace? Passive income. This is money that just flows in without your active, ongoing daily labor. For Galloway's dad, this passive income comes from his pension and a few washer-dryer machines he owns in a trailer park. He literally just goes around and collects the coins. That is the magic of passive income.
Now, the flip side of that equation is your burn rate, otherwise known as your expenses. This is the total amount of money required to maintain your current lifestyle. The crucial takeaway here is that controlling your burn rate is the ultimate key to wealth. Galloway even talks about a couple in their late 50s living in super expensive San Jose. His advice to them? Move to Costa Rica, cut your burn rate by 40%, and instantly remove all that crushing economic pressure.
Section 4. The expert wealth formula. The exact math of peace.
Financial educator Jaspreet Singh boils the entire game down to this incredibly simple formula. Your income minus your expenses equals your investments plus your savings. True wealth is built by maximizing that margin, that beautiful space between what you make and what you burn. Think about it. If you spend everything you make, you have zero margin. But once you create that margin, you funnel it aggressively right into your investments.
Section 5. Track, save, and monetize. Let's widen that margin.
Let's get into some highly practical tips directly from the experts on how to actually do this. First, gamify saving. Back in the summer of 1985, Scott Galloway and his college buddies were completely broke. So they put a whiteboard up in their apartment and made a literal game out of tracking their spending. Galloway survived on just $78 a week to make sure he could pay his senior year tuition. You should also seriously consider relocating to dramatically cut your costs and start talking openly about money with your smart friends. Learn their strategies instead of hiding in shame.
Now, if you want to pump up the income side of that formula, you've got to look at entrepreneur Cody Sanchez's strategy. She calls it expertise to equity. Instead of just handing out traditional boring resumes, figure out what you're genuinely really good at. Then, find a small business and offer to help them either grow their revenue or cut their costs. But here's the genius trick. Instead of asking for a flat salary, negotiate a percentage of the upside. Negotiate ownership.
Section 6. Consistent investing. Time to put that money to work.
$10. A massive excuse people use is, well, I just don't have enough money to invest. Let me stop you right there. Jaspreet Singh's very first investment was buying a single share of Ford stock for just $2 when he was younger. Today, you can invest in exchange-traded funds, like the S&P 500, which literally gives you a tiny slice of the 500 biggest companies in America with as little as $10. You absolutely do not need to be rich to start.
Starting small works, and it works because of the unbelievable power of compounding. Jaspreet talks about an everyday school janitor making a very low income who ended up retiring as a multimillionaire. How is that even possible? Because every single time they got paid, they automatically invested a small portion of it. They didn't freak out and panic when the market dipped. They just kept consistently automating those small investments over decades.
I want you to remember this amazing quote from Jaspreet Singh. You have to be wealthy here, in your mind, before you can be wealthy in your bank account. Guys, wealth is a quiet discipline. When Jaspreet made his first $1 million, he was still driving a $500 car with a missing bumper. His homeowners association actually complained to him about having a junk car in the driveway. But he didn't care. He chose to put $150,000 in cash into real assets instead of buying some flashy car just to appease his neighbors. That right there, that is true wealth.
We've covered a lot today. We talked about the hidden, painful costs of financial stress, rewiring your mindset for abundance, maximizing that crucial margin, and the absolute game-changing power of consistent investing. So as your mentor today, I leave you with this final challenge. You now have the exact formula in your hands. Are you going to fall back into your old habits, or what are you going to do differently with your very next paycheck?